So introducing from Indiana, Jeff Rolsey. So hello there, Jeff.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much, just life's going great.
Glad to hear it. It's a beautiful day here in Indy.
All right then. So how's life been for you?
Life has been very good. I was blessed with really wonderful parents and grew up in a small city in Indiana where most everybody knew each other. And then I had a great education and very successful professional life as a lawyer, and have done some very interesting things since leaving the law a number of years ago. So, yeah, no complaints here.
Okay then. And what are you doing right now as of this week?
Well, just before getting on this podcast with you, I was playing pickleball earlier today with a few friends. It was a beautiful day. It's sunny, warm, so we had a good sweaty game, worked off some calories, and I finished a little writing project earlier this week, article that was published as a guest blog, um, about how to take your journaling and turn it into a publishable article.
Okay, that's cool. And how long you been working on this article for?
Not long. I had a an article that was published a few years ago on the same topic. So since this blog outfit asked me to do this guest blog, I took that article, kind of revised it, updated it, so it really only took a couple hours.
Ah, that's nice. Um, have you been traveling abroad recently since the last time we met on here?
No, I haven't. My wife leaves for Italy in just a couple days, and I decided not to go with her this time. I've just sort of developed this um, uh, antagonism uh, towards dealing with airports and airlines, and since the pandemic, it's just been such a mess. And I've done a fair amount of flying all through the pandemic, all domestic though. So international travel was a huge part of my life for many years, and I'm still the U.S. representative for a Nepal-based trekking and mountaineering company. So I'm helping people arrange travel to Nepal or the Himalayan region. Um, but I really personally, I, I'm just not looking forward to it because of just the increased hassles that have, there were just so many cancellations, delays, and all that sort of insecurity about international travel has sort of put me off it, even though I'm still kind of in the business of helping other people do it. And like I said, my wife is just leaving for a trip to Italy in a couple days.
Oh yes, of course. And if you could like travel to any other place around the world, where would that be?
Yeah. Well, I love the Himalayan region, and I've spent lots of time there. So if Elon Musk would hurry up and invent a Star Trek type portal to just beam me there, I'd be there tomorrow. But one place I'm really interested in going, I've actually tentatively have a trip planned there for next year, is Malta. Um, I've been to the Greek islands several times, so I know the Mediterranean world somewhat, and I've spent a fair amount of time in Italy, but I've never been to Malta or Sicily or Corsica. So those islands really interest me, but especially Malta because it's got such a interesting history, and the pictures of it and friends who have been there, it's beautiful. So that's probably my next international trip.
Fabulous. If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use it for?
You are dogging me with interesting questions. Um, if I had that much land, I think I would do one of two things. I'd either farm it because as a kid, I grew up in a rural area and I worked on a couple different farms, or I would turn it into a recreational area, especially for youth. And um, and, and especially pickleball. That's become my latest sporting outlet, and I've really gotten to love that game after having played a lot of other sports. And my aging legs and shoulders and elbow joints have sort of brought me down to the level of old people's sport of pickleball. So I think it'd be fun to introduce kids to that sport because it's mostly played by older folks. Um, but I coached a lot of youth sports when I was younger and really loved that. So yeah, so either farming or a recreational sports events area for youth.
Great. I actually want to see that.
Well, when you give me the acreage and I develop it, you're invited.
Okay, sounds good. I would love to see it. Which recent news story have you found most interesting?
Recent news stories. Well, I'm a real news junkie. I consume a lot of news every day. Um, so that's a tough one because there's so many. I mean, the civil war in Sudan is really interesting in terms of why is that happening. This was a country that was had finally, established democracy, and now the military, the regular army, and this rapid force um, is tearing the country apart, which is very sad. So that's a really interesting story to follow. And then, of course, the war in Ukraine. I mean, I'm very, very strongly pro-Ukraine and think Putin is probably the most dangerous person on the face of Earth currently. So I'm following that very closely and hope very much that Ukrainians win and that somehow this brings about the downfall of Putin.
Yeah, of course. It's a very unfortunate what's happening right now in the world, but we can only
Yeah,
hope for the
there's
best.
Yeah, it's interesting, James, how at least here in the US, the network news tries to end every news session with kind of an uplifting, positive story because there's just so many bad, depressing news that they have to, or at least they feel like they have to relate. So it's it's kind of nice to that they've adopted this custom of ending with at least one positive, uplifting story. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think there should be more stories that are more positive and uplifting to like brighten the mood of readers.
Right on, right on.
Yeah. What's something you tried that you didn't think you would like, but you end up liking it really a lot?
Well, that's difficult because um, I've done a lot of different activities over the course of my life, lots of different sports and adventure travel and so forth. Um, I can think of one thing I thought I would like and ended up really disliking, which was entering politics. I ran for city council here in Indianapolis when I was still in law school, and I really thought I would enjoy politics, and I found it utterly disgusting when I actually got into it. But that's kind of the reverse of the question you asked. Okay, well, I'll go with this. I thought pickleball was kind of a silly sport. Um, I hadn't even seen it played the first time I played it, but I'd heard about it. I thought the name is ridiculous. Pickleball. I mean, it just sounds kind of silly, unlike like tennis, basketball, football, sports I'd played, rugby. Um, but the first time I played it, it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot easier on an aging body than tennis or the other sports that I had been playing. So yeah, so I thought pickleball would be kind of silly, and I ended up really falling in love with the sport. I even wrote a book about it.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. What was the best thing you bought off Amazon?
What was the best thing I bought on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Um, okay. Uh, it would be our bed. Um, my wife and I got a pretty expensive bed. It's been, I think, 2 years ago now. And what's really great about it is not only is the mattress extremely comfortable, but it divides into two. So there's actually two different mattresses, and it has a controller. So each of us can raise or lower the foot, the head, and to our own particular desire, regardless of what the other wants. Um, and so it's interesting because my wife likes to have the head elevated, and I don't, but I kind of sometimes like to have the feet elevated, especially if I've been, running or doing some hard workout and my legs are kind of sore. It feels good to elevate the feet. So yeah, so there you go. Uh, our bed.
Ah, very good. Very nice. When things break, do you prefer to fix them or replace them?
I I like to fix stuff that I can. I worked at a gas station when I was in high school, and I was not very good at it. I was actually pretty lousy, probably the worst uh, employee at the gas station because I'm really not that mechanically inclined, but I like the challenge of it. So I do like trying to fix things. Um, and if it's mechanical, so I can see it or I can see, a blueprint or a drawing, trying to figure it out is kind of fun. If it's anything digital, computers, anything, cell phones, anything that's digital, it just seems like magic to me. I mean, chips, that's just magic. It makes no sense to me how the technology that we're using right now works. So if it's that kind of thing, forget it. But interestingly, I worked as a lawyer on the very first licensing of cellular telephone in the US back in the early 80s. And so I learned all about how cellular technology works. and I've forgotten most of what I learned because once I was done with those cases, I didn't really have to think about it anymore. But um, that that kind of convinced me that anything that has to do with digital technology is just kind of magic.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could be on any game show, which one would it be?
Um, I would go for Jeopardy. Um, I I haven't for quite a while, but when trivia, the game, Trivial Pursuit was popular, my wife and I played that a few times at parties, and we were both very good at it. She was even better than me. Um, but yeah, I like testing my knowledge and vocabulary, and especially about all sorts of different subject matters. So a game like that, rather than just a game of pure chance.
I can see that. Yeah, I'd agree. What is your favorite type of day?
Hmm. Any day that I can get outside and do something physical outside, whether it's climbing as sort of extreme as climbing a mountain or scuba diving to something as mundane as mowing my lawn. Um, I just like being outdoors, always have. When I was a preteen, kids in the neighborhood even called me nature boy because I just loved being outdoors.
Okay, I like going outside too, but there are days that I prefer to stay indoors, just because I like watching the rain or the snow. But other days I would love to go outside and feel the warmth, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, I like what you just said that sometimes it's pretty cool to have a window between you and the outdoors and just enjoy looking at it. Yeah, especially when the weather is really interesting, like a snowy or a rainy day. In fact, I'm looking at a window right now, and out in beyond my backyard is a river and trees, and it's really interesting just to watch the trees moving and the water rippling. Yeah, so it's very kind of peaceful and content to be inside looking out and seeing what's going on out there.
Yeah, indeed. What app can you not believe someone hasn't made yet?
What app?
Yeah, what
Um,
app? Yeah.
oh, okay. Oh, wow. Uh, you mean there isn't an app for everything at this point? Um, well, I mean, I don't. This is science fiction, but like I said before, I want a a a travel portal to be invented, so I can just be beamed to to a place I want to go. So if you create an app where my computer will just swallow me up and transport me to whatever destination I choose.
That's actually pretty cool. I would like to have that someday.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
this is
don't
a
think we should hold our breath for it.
yeah, you're right. It's right now it's a bit far from reality, but maybe a few years, decades into the future, it could possibly happen.
Yeah, maybe our grandchildren.
Yeah. And this is a question from the top of my head. Have you ever thought about sending mail to Bigfoot?
Sending mail to Facebook?
No, not Facebook, Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot. Sorry. I guess my brain was still stuck on apps and computers to Bigfoot. Well,
Oh,
yeah. So I've actually seen the a Yeti skull and a Yeti paw in Nepal, and the Sherpas truly believe in the existence of the Yeti, which of course that's their version of Bigfoot. Um, and so I, I've never thought of sending a letter to Bigfoot, but I have seen at least what is claimed to be the remains. They're in Gompas, which are Buddhist monasteries in Nepal.
Okay, that's cool. If you could use magic to do one mundane task for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, I'm beginning to sound redundant, but to transport me to where I would like to go without having to get in a car or a train or a bus or an airplane.
Okay then. Never thought of it that way. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Yeah, too much. Uh, Probably if you count doing email email, social media, reading, consuming news, probably on an average day where I'm at home and I'm not traveling, I would say 3 to 4 hours,
All
which
right
is
then.
too much. I mean, it kind of disgusts me when I hear myself say that, but yeah, honestly, it would be 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of a lot of us have been reliant on the internet these days. What natural landmark would you like to see someday?
Hmm. Well, because of my wide traveling, I've seen so many. Um, I well, okay, I have not been to the continent of South America, so seeing the Amazon River. I think that would be pretty cool. Patagonia, um, the great sites in South America. That's the one, and I also haven't been to Antarctica, but those are the two continents I haven't been to.
Ah, all right then. What was the strangest thing you've ever asked ChatGPT?
I've never asked ChatGPT anything, never used it, and I really don't want to.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's crazy how AI has advanced for the last few years. Well, actually, last few months. It's been advancing so quickly.
It is, and I taught a college course on philanthropy for several years. Last year was the last year I decided not to uh, teach this year, but my wife is a college English and literature teacher, and if for educators, it's a real challenge and a real problem. I mean, my wife was telling me last night about this paper in her class she got from one of her students, and she said, "Oh, it was just so beautifully written, and it was just perfect." And she was really surprised at how well done it was. And I said, "Have you considered that she didn't write it, and that it was, an AI written paper?" And she said, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's actually scary that people can't even tell anymore between difference between something written by AI and things that have been written by us. It's crazy.
Yeah, and for like my wife and I mean, we're both writers, we're both multi-published authors and educators, and so on the one hand, you think the competition from AI just in the publishing industry is kind of scary, just like any work that's threatened by technology. But then also as educators, it's our job to uh, teach our students how to think and write, and if you don't know that this is their writing, you don't know whether their thinking is being improved. I mean, that's how we see it. Class discussion to some extent, but ultimately, the final paper is supposed to be the expression of what you've learned in this course this semester. And if you can't be sure that your student has written it, then it's hard to know whether you've been effective as an educator, and hard to know whether your students are actually learning what the course is supposed to teach them.
Absolutely. What three objects do you value the most?
And so we're talking about objects, not human beings, and not living creatures. Because if it was living creatures, I would say the people in my family, and next in line would be my pet cat Poppy. But objects, well, I have an Italian sports car, which is really cool. It's a Fiat 124 Spider convertible. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. So that's probably, well, and I guess if you could consider a house an object, um, our house is okay. It's like it's not the most spectacular house by any means, but the view from our house into the backyard with the white river and trees all around, it's really a lovely view. So there's two: house, car. I would have said next would be motorcycle, because I rode motorcycles for years, and the last one I had was a Harley Davidson, and it was a beautiful piece of machinery, and I love the roar of the Harley engine, but I don't have that anymore. So probably my laptop. I mean, as I just admitted, spending as much time on the internet as I do, I in fact, I just got a new laptop. This is my only my second Zoom um, on this laptop, because I just got it as a recent birthday present from my wife. So there you go: house, car, laptop.
Very good. What is your favorite quote?
Okay, this is going to be very egotistical because it's from one of my own books. You have to get lost before you can be found. It's actually the title of one of my books, and the title of a chapter, which is based on a story, a true story of me getting lost by myself on a mountain in the Himalayas, which was really incredible experience, which started out as really a cool adventure and then got pretty scary, and then turned into a wonderful experience of reuniting with my team. So that's my favorite quote.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Jeff. Talking about just catching up when we last left off, where we last met, and talking about a lot of other things. It's been fabulous.
Well, thanks for having me again, and great to be with you. You have a wonderful day, and hope we'll do this again sometime.
Me too. And until next time.